Grossi Posse Packer Nation, welcome to another episode of Patcast, the podcast where you don't need to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. Please excuse my several week-long hiatus. I was relaxing, enjoying all that life had to offer. In reality, I was crying due to lack of any relevant football news. But that being said, the schedule was released last night. We're going to analyze it here. We're going to look at the wins. We're going to look at the losses, and you can bet on it. Please don't do that because you'll lose lots of money. But we can talk about it. But before we get started, let's do a little sponsorship action. Check out tom.ting.com. That's right. Tom Grossi here got a sponsor. Yeah, right here. This guy. For the 7 people that watch this, tom.ting.com. What Ting is, it's a phone service that I have used for the past 5 years. They run off Sprint, if I'm not mistaken. And my average phone, it's pay as you use, and my average phone bill, including with this podcasting, is about $35 a month. So if you do the tom.ting.com, you save $25. You can go get a phone. You can go do that. Just trying to hook you up a little bit, and then I get some money, which is nice, so I can keep doing this and living in my basement. Go to tom.ting.com. But the actual really, really important news that came out during my hiatus is that Olivia Munn and Aaron Rodgers have broken up. Now, this is a little personal for me because when I heard that they got together, it was in the middle of the football season. They've been together for a while, but I've been so focused on the football aspect that I never even got a chance to give them a relationship name. And so because of that, I've jotted down a few and kind of in memoriam and let me know which one you think is your favorite. We have Rodden, Mungers, I like that one, Olivron, and Avia. It's just playing with their names. I like Mungers. So rest in peace, Mungers. Rest in peace. But you know what that means, that Aaron Rodgers is winning a freaking Super Bowl this year. Because that guy is going to rebound hard and get married to the Lombardi Trophy. And I personally can't wait for it. Because this season, God, the Super Bowl is in Minnesota, and I have now said this for the past 2 years that I could die a happy man if Aaron Rodgers is hoisting the Lombardi Trophy on the 50-yard line in the Vikings' new stadium. It would make me so happy. It would make me so happy. But we'll get there. The draft is next week. We'll do an episode, probably night 1 of the draft, and then after it all wraps up, we'll do another episode, kind of recap. I've been asked about mock drafts, and I have to be honest, I don't follow college football as much as I should. I know that some of you might not like that, but I usually just wait and see who the Packers draft, and then I research the player, and then I find out everything about them, and we see if it's a good fit or not, and that's usually how I roll when it comes to the draft. But let's get to the schedule. And so when this came out, I was wondering if the Packers and Falcons would be the first game, but they seem to move that to week 2, and it's a Sunday night game, and that's gonna be interesting to say the least. But I can't look past week 1 because week 1 opening up at home, which is always great, against the Seattle Seahawks, which is just delicious. It is so fantastically wonderful. And in years previous, I've been afraid of the Seahawks and have been kind of tentative to be like, ooh, it's going to be a tough game to win. But after destroying them and Russell Wilson throwing 5 interceptions last year, I just want to do that again. I really just want to do that again. And Eddie Lacy's coming back to Lambeau. We're getting this out right out of the gate. Where Eddie Lacy is going to show up. He's going to be 350 pounds, and I'm curious to see the reaction he's going to get from Lambeau because this is the last time that we saw him. He was in a Packers uniform, so this is going to be an interesting game to say the least. Week 2, as I was just saying, Sunday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons, the rematch of the NFC Championship game, and also the game that broke the Magical Puppies streak. So this is going to be a big revenge game. So those two games right off the bat are going to be tough games, and I think it's going to be a really good indicator on where our offense is and if we continue where we left off last year. And more importantly, I would argue where our defense is, because especially when it comes to the Falcons, they have a really, really high octane offense, as we've seen. So it's going to be a good test right out of the gate. Week 3 and Week 4 were both at home against the Bengals and the Bears. Week 5, another really, really great game. We are at the Cowboys, so divisional rematch from last year. Cowboys-Packers matches are always fun. Thoroughly looking forward to that. You're also then going against the Vikings, away. Home against the Saints. Saints are always a fun game. It's always a really high-scoring game. I like playing the Saints. And then finally, we have a late bye. Week 8, we have a bye. And I'm so happy about that. Watch, this year we'll wind up needing it in Week 4 like we usually get it. But the fact that we have a late week bye, like right in the middle of the season, is fantastic. I always prefer those, and I think the players do as well. Week 9, home against the Lions. Then Week 10, we're at the Bears. 11, we are home with the Ravens, which is a team that we don't play very much, so that'll be cool to play them. At the Steelers. Steelers, Packers, you can't really get too much better than that. They always put on hell of a show. Then we're home against the Buccaneers. At the Browns, Week 14, going to be the hardest matchup of all time. Week 15, we're at the Panthers. Then we finish up our home game against the Vikings. And then Week 17, we're at the Lions again. So second year in a row that we're finishing on the road against the Lions. I hope it doesn't come down to the last week like it did last year, and we can just wrap up the division. So that being said, let's go through real quick and predict some wins and losses. Now, I did this last year, and I think I said like 12-4. However, the schedule is one of those things that you can't, it's really hard to predict wins and losses because the teams can show up and not show up this year. I mean, look at the Panthers. No one would have expected them to be god-awful last year. But that being said, I'm going to predict we're going to win against the Seahawks. Boom. The Falcons, I'm gonna tentatively put that as a loss because that's just the way I am. We're gonna win against the Bengals, win against the Bears. The Cowboys, I'm gonna be conservative and say that we're gonna lose. Win against the Vikings, win against the Saints. Bye week. Then we're going to win against the Lions, win against the Bears, win against the Ravens. I'll say we lose the Steelers just because I got to throw another loss in there. Win against the Bucks, the Browns. I'm thinking this is a shootout. This goes into OT, and the Packers are able to edge it out because of a safety. So that's a win. Win against the Panthers, win against the Vikings, win against the Lions. So if my 10-second analysis of this schedule is correct, it looks like we are going 13-3 this year. We're going to wrap up the number 1 seed in the NFC, and we're just going to win it all. I mean, that's the way that it's going to happen. But if there's going to be some tough games in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we split with one of the NFC Northsmen. But the hardest games I'm seeing on this schedule, the Seahawks game will be tough, the Falcons game, the Cowboys game, the Saints I think will give us some trouble, and then also the Steelers. And it all depends on that defense because almost all of those teams that I just mentioned have really good offenses. So if we're able to actually stop somebody from throwing the ball, that'd be great. So that'll all depend on there. But yeah, I'm predicting it's going to be a tough year, but I think it's going to be really exciting. This is a fun schedule, and there's some fun games. I got to see which game I'm going to be heading out to. That being said, again, I'll see you next week when we take a look at the draft. We'll see who the Packers draft, who's upset, who's happy. Let me know what your favorite Aaron Rodgers, Olivia Munn relationship name is. That this is very, very important. I vote for Mungers. Also, check out tom.ting.com. Thank you so much for watching. You can check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music. We're on YouTube. Check it out under Podcast. Check out tomgrossicomedy.com or at tomgrossicomedy on Twitter. I'll see you next week. And as always, go Pack Go.